As Journey with Stone and Love. And I'm DJ Uncle. Um, they want me to tell you that most of the videos lately that have been up here on my social media are me, DJ Uncle, and usually they don't even call me DJ Uncle. If I'm not, here playing with the record player, I'm just Uncle. And before, if you look way back on my Instagram and my YouTube, Harry Weaver was the person who was the narrator. And I don't know, we just kind of switched out and we never really told you, but Uncle is the one who, if it doesn't say who it is, talking, it's not Bob, just so you know. There is no Bob on this channel. There's no Bob. But Uncle is the usual person who talks, but sometimes some of the other characters do talk, like today Christopher Isherwood talked. But generally speaking, at the front, person talking, if I don't write it down in the comments who's talking, it's Uncle. What can we tell you about Uncle? Uncle is a harried person. It's kind of a British term. It means someone who feels like they said possessed. Yes. What else? Uncle is generally speaking unable to find his way in life, and he tries to play music. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Do you know when you got the feeling like you're going to sneeze? Oh, it's horrible. And you feel, no, it's going away. It's coming back. It's horrible. So anyway, Uncle has two people who harass him, and that is King Clancy and Bear. And sometimes there's some other ones that come, and generally speaking, they're not too much regular, but Clancy and Bear harass Uncle pretty much all the time. Now, that's not the only characters that are regulars. Bear doesn't come to the front and talk, at least not so far. And Clancy one time almost talked at the front, in other words, using here. But I hear them in the back of my head. And they're just other characters that we do. We do a lot of other characters that are just sort of one-offs. They come and go. Like there's Officer George Gross, who's a copsicle. There's Fat Cat California, who is the singer for a band. We used to have some other ones. We've got Laurent, who used to be Pindar the Reptilian Draco, but then he didn't want to play Pindar anymore. So somebody else sometimes plays Pindar from us, and we don't really know who it is because Pindar hardly comes around anymore. But Pindar is the Reptilian. There's Colonel Cliff Serene, who comes around quite a bit. He pretty much always, not always, but almost always wears military green, and he usually says it's Colonel Cliff Serene. We've got, in the background, we've got Sippy Cup. He's a terrier. He's a talking dog, and his first I don't want to say owner because he doesn't like to be owned, but the one who was acting like his human that wasn't really a human was a fifth dimensional dark elf called Rumpelstiltskin, who Sippy Cup knows. They're more than acquaintances and less than friends. There's two ladies. There's the Lady Notochord, who is the older sister of the Lady Marlborough, and those two are pretty much regulars. Lady Marlborough used to be a pole dancer in our bar, and a Lady Cigarette used to be the lady called the Cigarette Lady who would come and deliver cigarettes to you. Rumpelstiltskin used to go to our bar and drink whiskey sours, but I think he's quit drinking. And I think pretty much everyone has quit smoking. And no one goes to the bar anymore. But if you look, way back like a year and a half ago, we used to talk about the bar. Rumpelstiltskin doesn't hardly talk to us anymore. Originally, he was basically playing the part that Clancy and Bear do. That is, someone who talks all the time. Not hard. I think he did one on camera, but the rest of the time he was off camera. But he abandoned his post because he got bored, as far as we can tell. And then Clancy came, and Bear was somebody who was passed out in the bar for a very long time. And when he would wake up, he was very mean-spirited. Apparently, he's got a PhD and rocket science, he says, but it doesn't work. Bear and Clancy are in a control room in the Hutch space station, and even though Bear has got a PhD in rocket science, the Hutch, which has engines, they don't know what kind of technology it is, but it's not rockets. It's very advanced, but it's extraterrestrial, and none of them admit to knowing anything about it, which means that maybe they do, but I don't think they do. Let's see. The reason I'm telling you all this is that, I start talking quite a bit and people just think I'm Bob, but I'm not. I'm a character. And on this channel, it's a satire, which means don't take anything seriously. And the information that I give you is all opinions, and pretty much my opinions are stupid in the eyes of Clancy and Bear. But if no one else comes to the front and I talk, somebody's got to give an opinion. So consider everything that I say, Uncle, to be phony baloney and false. Don't rely upon it. It's basically here to give you an opinion, and quite often I change my opinions and I have a hard time mumbling out anything. Bear with the PhD is only very intelligent 5% of the time. When he's either sober or very drunk, that's when he's at his smartest. The rest of the time he's mean-spirited. And Clancy, I don't want to talk about Clancy. He's decided he doesn't want to be talked about. Sippy Cup, he doesn't want to talk. Rumple doesn't want to come. And the lady Notochord is usually the one who tries to keep the peace. And the lady Cigarette has run away. Since the quarantine, I mean, if you're watching this sometime in the future, we're currently in the quarantine for the COVID. And the lady Cigarette has left because she feels like she's not allowed to smoke. So she's decided to leave. And let's see, who else haven't we heard from? Vasily Fisk, our metaphysical detective, has been long gone. He used to give us regular reports on his investigations. And let's see. There's Jacob Being, and he doesn't come on camera, but let's see, who else do we have? We've got Yoshi, he's a dragon. Oh well, there's plenty of other characters that come and go. There's a bunch of other ones. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that if I don't mention my name, pretty much reassured that I'm Uncle. Bob Frizzell is another character that does talk. Not too much lately, but he used to talk almost every day. He's the producer of the reality game, which is uber low budget movie making. He used to say that he had his own spaceship and that he was filthy rich, but he wouldn't pay anybody to be in his movies. And he used to give us very interesting psychobabble that never really played out. In the background, we also have people who are interested in the topic of Earth ascension and the fifth dimension, 5D, because there's lots of people on YouTube that talk about it. And we often talk about Stuart Wilde, who was a metaphysical teacher, and we talk about Dr. David R. Hawkins, who is extinct. In other words, he died, but he wrote a lot about consciousness. We talk about various other people. Sometimes we do book reports, and Jen and you reflecting on it all. I keep looking to see, and it says I've only been talking for 2 minutes. I felt like I've been talking for 10 minutes. Anyways, the actionable intelligence that we're going to get is non-existent. So if you're expecting to get anything educational out of here, you probably will, but just know that most of the time we're not going to tell you what we think is truth and what's falsehood, because we just don't know. But we do tend to blather quite a bit, and then when we're off camera we fight a lot. Mostly we fight just because Bear and Clancy are mean-spirited, and none of the rest of us know how to throw them out. They got mean-spirited from being in the bar for many years and learning how to fight in the bar, and they're still pretty much unable to hold their... That's about it. As hot as Honduras, and it doesn't mean anything, I've never been, but we just wanted to remind you that this is officially a comedy channel. And if I'm not laughing, it's because I'm not feeling well. But you're supposed to laugh, because all of the characters we do on here are unavailable to talk to you. And I can't really tell you anything other than the reason we call it a comedy channel is because it's a comedy of errors. Nothing really works properly. We have a very hard time getting these little videos up onto, we say, is it up? And it takes forever sometimes. And, like this particular smartphone, for no particular reason, the battery just won't hold a charge and it runs down very fast. And we had a problem with Instagram last week. Well, actually, for a number of weeks, things wouldn't go up. And we were having trouble because there was no, the battery... Everything was going wrong. We ran out of space on the internal memory, and then we found out that it was Instagram, which had bloated into an enormous program. And we looked it up, and they said, well, you just delete it and reinstall it. And we did, and we end up with way more room on our phones. So if your Instagram has been installed for a long time and you don't have any more room on your phone, it's because Instagram has grown into bloatware.